Class 9. Subject Science, Physics. Chapter 7, Motion. Topics to be learned in this video: graphical representation of motion, distance time graphs, and velocity time graphs. Graphical representation of motion. In graphical representation of motion of an object, we use line graphs. The line graphs show dependence of one physical quantity, such as distance or velocity, on another quantity, such as time. Here we learn two methods for representing graphical motion. First is distance time graphs. Second is velocity time graphs. Distance time graphs. The change in the position of an object with time can be represented on the distance time graph adopting convenient scale of choice. In this graph, time is taken along the x-axis and distance is taken along the y-axis. Distance time graphs can be made in various conditions, such as when objects move with uniform speed, non-uniform speed, and remain at rest, etc. Distance time graph for uniform speed. When an object travels equal distances in equal intervals of time, it moves with uniform speed. It means the distance traveled by the object is directly proportional to time taken. For uniform speed, a graph of distance traveled against time is a straight line, as shown in figure. We can use the distance time graph to determine the speed of an object. We can see from the graphs that as the object moves from the point A to B, it covers a distance s2 minus s1 in time t2 minus t1. The speed v of the object can be represented as v is equal to s2 minus s1 divided by t2 minus t1. Distance time graph for non-uniform speed. Table shows the distance traveled by a car in an interval of 2 seconds. Distance time graph for an object at remain rest. Velocity time graph. The variation in velocity with time for an object moving in a straight line can be represented by a velocity time graph. In this graph, time is represented along the x-axis, and the velocity is represented along the y-axis. If the object moves at uniform velocity, the height of its velocity time graph will not change with time, given figure below. It will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. Figure shows the velocity time graph for a car moving with uniform velocity of 40 km per hour. We know that the product of velocity and time give displacement of an object moving with uniform velocity. The area enclosed by velocity time graph and the time axis will be equal to the magnitude of the displacement. The table shows the velocity of a car at a regular instant of time. In this case, the velocity time graph for the motion of the car is shown in figure. The nature of the graph shows that velocity changes by equal amounts in equal intervals of time. Thus, for all uniformly accelerated motion, the velocity time graph is a straight line. In the case of non-uniformly accelerated motion, velocity time graphs can have any shape. Figure A shows a velocity time graph that represents the motion of an object whose velocity is decreasing with time, while Figure B shows the velocity time graph representing the non-uniform variation of velocity of the object with time. Try to enter these graphs. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel.